You.
All right, howdy, folks. Welcome to session 3 of Viva Lost Vegas. Before we get started tonight, as always, just wanted to remind everyone about Onyx Path's other projects. There is the Realms of Pugmire Kickstarter that is still going. It's funded, but hit up them stretch goals. And of course, last Friday of every month is Onyx Path Game Night. You can check out the Twitter for more details on that. So let's jump into it. Today is June 15th, 2021. It's been 4 days since the wild hunt on the new moon. What's everybody been doing during this time frame? Let's start with Lex.
All right, so during my downtime, I first decided to see if there were any other changelings that I could help that came in injured or whatnot during that first hunt night. And there was a Lost Vegas changeling that came into the sanctuary, a plant-based changeling who lost an arm. So I took her over to Doc Tallboy's office. The second day, I kind of went to see the king of the Winter Court and let him know about the purple gem-eyed changeling that we had unmasked, the bookbinder. And he said he would let Moggins know to spread the word and keep an eye out, but he didn't say whether he knew them or anything. And then I decided to make sure that I could get some healing for the hand that I had touched iron with. So I actually got my aggravated damage downgraded to lethal, and I'm healed now. And then I went to check out court to see what was going on. And Madam Anybody, the one with the flickering face, took me aside and mentioned that there were rumors that we'd been seen with Royal Flush members, and that we should be careful because most Las Vegas courtiers don't trust Royal Flush at all. She mentioned that there were a lot of nasty rumors about them, that they harbor bookbinders, and that the leader of the Royal Flush, Jack of Hearts, was responsible for the capture of the Spring King. So that's what I was up to.
So, Elliot, during these last couple of days, I first went and looked around where we fought that hunter, and found a piece of him left behind, which I can use for one of my contracts to track him down. Then we picked up a book called The Life and Times of Jack of Hearts during our escape, and I've finally had some time to sit down and read. I learned about their past as a professional gambler in Las Vegas, who was picked up by the Lord of Tales after he lost a bet. And strangely enough, at the very end of the book, there's this lines about how generous and wonderful the Lord of Tales was for rescuing a storyless character and giving them a new tale to tell.
Hey, just to answer chat's question here, the piece in question was a small piece of bone.
Yep, we've got a small fragment of shattered bone that I might be able to use to track him down later. And lastly, I went out to harvest some glamour, which was mixing some drinks for some mortals, trying to get them in good spirits to get a little glamour from their peaked emotions, and I did very badly, only getting a single glamour from the effort. You win some, you lose some.
Alrighty, Kit.
Alrighty. So my downtimes were pretty straightforward. We had gotten a bit of information about a cotton entertainment group that was doing a exhibition nearby. So I went and investigated that a little bit. And let's see, let me look at my notes here. Yeah, it was I spent a day hanging out with Kurt down in the armory, just getting to know him more and get a better get in touch more with our current situation and stuff like that. On the third day, I decided to be a bit more aggressive with my regaining my glamour. Did some reaping of that. And on the fourth day, I went into the hedge and made myself a little warren. So the motley here has a bit of a place to stay now.
This is actually a perfect opportunity to take a moment and explain a little bit more in depth to everybody in chat. Glamour is the supernatural resource that changelings and other fae creatures use. It is raw emotional power. Changelings can usually get it in a few different ways. The number one quickest being by harvesting it. You can harvest it in multiple different ways. You can just sit in a bar and drink in the atmosphere. You could go scare somebody or hold them up at gunpoint and harvest it that way. Or you can reap it. Reap it tears it directly out of a human's mind and has some nasty psychological effects. And anyone who knows how to differentiate someone who's been reaped from someone who is just having some sort of mental breakdown could possibly use that to track you down by finding the trail of victims you've left behind. So if anyone has any questions, feel free to speak up. I do try to keep an eye on the chat. That being said, since everybody has explained how they've been spending the last few days, where are you all right now? Tell me how you all are meeting up for tonight.
I believe we should all be gathering at the Warren this evening, or were we going to meet at court?
Yeah, I mean, I my apologies. I forgot to specify that I did invite the other two to basically live with me since we're not fully a motley yet, which we need to take care of. They do need to be formally invited, but they are living. We're all living together right now.
So, Kenzie, what do you think?
Warren is technically not a term. This is the Merit Hollow. Give me a moment and I will pop a little information into chat.
Page 116 of the Changeling book.
I think if we start out at the hollow, we can always go to court.
All right, so since this is your hollow kit, describe it to everybody.
Okay, so for anybody who's joining us for the first time, Kit is a beast changeling. So he actually looks like a rabbit, and so kind of leaning into that a bit. When he went into the hedge to scout out a location, he found an area that was nice and open, and under the Vegas hedges equivalent to stars, and dug out a nice big warren underground with decent sized rooms for each of us, with little connecting tunnels between them. And he kind of, when he was digging, he was kind of sculpting steps and ladders out of the dirt and stuff like that.
Make it nice and easy to get around.
Mm-hmm.
there's more text for the merit, but it'll probably take longer to read. And of course, we'll be explaining things as we go along. But again, if you've got any questions, please feel free and I'll try my best to answer it. So basically what a hollow is simply a space in the hedge that a changeling has cleared out and made their own. They might build a little house there. It might be a literal cave, etc., etc.
Anyways, so Elliot's here waiting for everybody. He's had a bit of difficulty over the week, but I believe we were all gathered up to get a few things done today.
Kenzie and Kit, I assume you're here too, or are you on your way from somewhere else?
I was since I did the warrant on the last day, I figured this today I was kind of doing more detailed touches and stuff like that to make it a little more homey.
Alrighty, so everyone's here. All right, folks, the ball's in your court. What are you up to today?
Did we want to stop by court first, or were we headed straight for the royal flush? Because I've got a book to return.
Everybody?
Yeah, it sounds good. We can get to
I'd
know
like to go see Royal Flush.
Yeah, let's head straight on to the royal flush then. Let's get going and take that out. So I believe we got a card from Lucerne last time.
Yep, there was a business card.
Well, let's head straight on there.
I'm highly intrigued by the rumors.
Alrighty, first things first. Kenzie, I would like you to roll me a resolve plus computer check at a -2 penalty.
Resolve plus computers. That's a new one.
Okay,
Because
so
I-
I'm unskilled in computers and
I believe you were the one who had a phone, correct?
I do,
no,
actually.
Elliot has a phone.
Okay, then Elliot, you make the roll instead.
All right. So I have so that puts me at a chance die. I'm going to take a willpower to have that just be a normal die then. So I don't have to roll a chance die against this because that doesn't sound good. All right. Look at this shiny die pool. Doesn't look like I succeeded, though. At least it ain't a dramatic failure.
Do you want to make it a dramatic failure?
Not today. Not yet. I prefer to start on a good foot. Or at least not a broken one.
All right. Okay, so you guys are heading straight to Royal Flush, correct?
Yes.
So, the Royal Flush Casino is a relatively new one on the Strip. It's big and flashy, but for a casino, it's actually pretty small. When you pull up to it, you start to notice that lots of the employees appear to be changelings like yourself. The employees who can see right through your mask give you a little wink as you go by. When you present Lucerne's business card, you're directed to a office on the 4th floor of the building. It's small and out of the way, so it's actually a little difficult to find. And when you go inside, you find a cramped office, roughly the size of a studio apartment, that's taken up by a desk and a mismatched assortment of chairs, both behind it and in front of it. The place is lit mainly by Lucerne's lure and the bright pupilless eyes that you can see from behind her desk. She appears to be in the middle of writing something down. For folks who didn't meet Lucerne with us last time, Lucerne has curly hair and dark gray purplish skin, and a anglerfish's lure hanging from her forehead, and a mouthful of needle-sharp fangs. She waves a webbed hand and says, "Hey, good of you guys to come visit. I was hoping you would. It's been a few days. Take a seat, any seat. I assure you, they all work."
I take a seat politely and take a look around the room. Looks like you're pretty busy in here.
Take a seat. Keep a watchful eye.
She sighs and says, "Well, I'm a department of one person. Usually. I get a little assistance here and there, but it is what it is." She spreads her hands. "You guys seem like you could handle yourselves, so I wanted to talk to you and see if you'd officially joined up with Lost Vegas yet."
We're still in our trial period.
She says, writing something down on a sheet of paper. "And how's that been going?"
Pretty well.
What kind of department? What department are you? You're a department of one?
Yep, just me. This is officially speaking," she says, motioning around, "the office of the courser. My function here is to try to assist folks having trouble during the wild hunt. The rest of the time, I'm mostly looking up leads or something on bookbinders, or maybe doing something like trying to keep my eye on the Grim Hunter. It's monthly, so there's nothing that we can do to stop it, but we can at least make it easier on folks."
Why is it just you? You're supposed to save everyone? What?
She smiles and said, "Not everyone. This is a new office. Just got the job last year."
Fair enough.
I just haven't run into anyone yet who's willing to join the department when I explained to them that they might have to fight bookbinders.
You get to fight bookbinders every month?
"I wouldn't call it get to," she says. "Right, Gus?" She turns and nods at the empty air beside her.
So
She laughs and says, "Yeah, more like have to."
So there was one other thing I needed to talk to you while I was here. We ran into something on our way out of where. And it seemed like someone here might think it was very important. I lift the book from my bag and display it to them cover first.
Lucerne leans in so the light of her lure is reflecting on the cover and whistles between her many fangs. "Ooh," she says. "Yeah. Can I see it?"
I think it'd be best for everyone involved if you didn't read it, but you're welcome to take a look at it. I pass it across the counter, just so you can be sure that I'm not whistling Dixie here.
She grabs the, oh, I didn't mean to interrupt you. You
go
okay?
Go ahead.
She grabs the book, turns it over between her hands, feels the cover, leans in close and gives it a sniff, and nibbles on one of the edges. And then hands it back to you and says, "That looks genuine to me. It's definitely an icon, a piece of someone's soul. And if I had to guess, well, there's a name on the cover."
Yep. Would it be possible to meet the man in question?
Well, let me see. She turns back to her desk and rifles through the papers until she finds her phone. Would you guys mind waiting outside in the hallway?
Absolutely. Totally get it.
Yeah. Be right outside the door if you need us.
If I
Oh.
must.
Yes?
No,
Oh.
I'll wait in the hallway if I must. I just find this all really exciting.
Come on. I shuffle out with the others behind me.
All right. So do you guys want to do something, or do you just want to wait patiently for Lucerne to call you back in?
I'm currently keeping an eye out at anyone who passes by anywhere near us to make sure that there are no purple-faced, gem-eyed, fang-mouthed changelings.
Well, a few changelings and a bunch of the casino's mortal patrons do end up walking past, but none of them fit that description.
Are we getting any special interest, or are we just another, part of their day?
They don't seem to be especially interested, no.
All right. Well, I think we just ride out the time then.
All right. After a few minutes, Lucerne actually comes out of the office and says, well, you're lucky. You've got a meeting with the chairman. Looks like he had some empty appointment slots, and you guys get to go on in.
My apologies, but you can understand why I wouldn't feel comfortable not handing this directly to him.
She nods and says, sure. Yeah, I get it. If you guys find yourself a little frustrated with the way Las Vegas operates, come and see me. I may not have the sort of capacity that the summer court does, but I'm willing to pay. And I don't know if you can say that they would.
Fair enough.
She directs you to an office on the top floor.
So quick question for you guys. So it seems like the Las Vegas as a group is pretty well established. But these guys led with hunting loyalists.
To be fair, we
Is this a question for Lucerne or for your fellow players?
Fellow players.
So this
Like,
is what we're
as a
talking
lot.
about in the elevator as we're going up.
Yeah.
So as far as that goes, we did walk in on the big man in charge wanting to go lead a hunt over all this, if you recall.
Mhm.
So I think both of them are pretty concerned about loyalists. It's a matter of how they're operating. And we're about to get to meet the big man in charge. Looks like Jack of Hearts is going to be able to see us, and if we like the cut of his jib, maybe that's where we go.
Yeah, we'll feel this man out.
What do you think, Kenzie?
We get to fight bookbinders and we get paid? This is an absolute yes. This sounds like so much fun. Did you watch how that mask crumbled last time? Like, I wish I could have kept a piece of it, but like we could do that every month. We could probably do that like a dozen times a month.
I don't think we're going to be able to find him every time, but we can start making that a priority.
Hey, I'm just saying, if we, in between hunts, we spend our time investigating and digging around, I'm sure we can get rid of one at least once a month.
Absolutely.
Want to make a bet about it?
Not yet.
Let's go talk to the big man. We'll see how it goes. I ain't afraid of getting paid.
The elevator opens on the top floor of the Royal Flush. This casino is 20 stories tall, and this is technically floor 21, the penthouse. When you open up the elevator, The carpet is completely different. It's a plush red. The walls are painted and were painted in a white motif and decorated with statuary that looks gold, but there's no way that could be solid. It's got to be some sort of covering. And there's lots of paintings on the wall. You notice that they feature a playing card theme. When you reach the end of the hallway, having passed a good half a dozen doors on your way, there's one big door with a sign out beside it saying, Chairman of the Board, Jack Gerge.
I'm sensing a motif.
Well, I guess I knock on the door. Don't exactly barge into an office like this.
The door is opened, and you find yourself face to face with a changeling in a plain black suit and tie. She's tall, but not absurdly tall, and has her hair tied up in a bun. It's a lot of hair to tie up, and it's very frizzy and green and covered in thorns, with the occasional purple flower. She's wearing a set of black sunglasses, and that sets off the dark green and barky patches on her skin, and she glowers down at you. You hear another voice from behind them and say, I was expecting them, Holly. You can let them in. After a moment of further scrutiny, Holly turns back and motions you forward and grunts, come on in. The boss will see you now.
Hi, Holly.
Alright.
Nice to meet you. Gosh, your hair is really pretty.
Alrighty. Everyone roll composure plus weird, please.
Absolutely. Okay. One success.
Two successes.
One success.
So, if you got more than one success, congratulations, you win. Actually, yeah, I think you guys win on ties too. So, congratulations. Holly ushered you across a vast office, easily the size of a small house in and of itself. Here, the playing card motif has been played up to the nines. And towards the end of the office, across from a glass wall looking over the entirety of the Vegas Strip, you're introduced to a changeling behind the executive desk. He motions towards the chairs and asks you to sit down. He doesn't appear to be especially tall, but he is wearing an ostentatious purple suit. When you look at him, his skin is stark white and papery, and a closer look notices that no matter where you look at him from, he always appears to be a two-dimensional portrait. He's got a small pencil mustache and looks at you in interest. After a moment, it takes a moment of realization. It hits you. The guy looks almost exactly like a generic playing card, if one was brought to life.
Lovely to meet you, sir. Jack of Hearts, I should assume?
To my friends and to my enemies. He reaches out a hand to shake. I got a call from Lucerne saying that you had come to meet her and that you'd requested a meeting with me. He looks down at his paper and shuffles it together. After the report that Lucerne gave concerning the wild hunt, I was actually pretty surprised that you would come to visit us here in our little homemade sweet home.
Well, you were specifically the person I wanted to meet for more than one reason. But let's get the first one out of the way, because I do prefer to dispense with business as quickly as possible. I reach into my bag and produce the icon, setting it on the table before him. As we were escaping, I ran across this, and I'd be willing to bet it's yours.
Jack's eyes widen in surprise momentarily before his poker face is reasserted. The smile that he'd given you earlier is completely gone. He gives you a completely neutral look and says in a very even voice, "Oh, I had felt that an old part of my soul had come to the mortal world again." "So," he says, looking at you very seriously, "what do you want?"
To be honest, I don't feel very comfortable holding on to this, but I'm in a position where I've just arrived in the world. A little startup cash would be nice to get us on our feet.
He blinks a few times in surprise and says, "Money? You're asking for money?"
I mean,
Well,
right now, we're in a bad position. I don't feel comfortable holding on to what amounts to, from all reports, a part of your soul. And I don't feel like asking for metaphysical favors in exchange for it. But if either of you two could suggest something better, up to you. I just don't feel comfortable playing around with this. I already
Did you
feel
have
bad
something to
asking
say?
for anything.
would it be possible for me to kill bookbinders with Lucerne too? Like, is that okay?
Out of character, did you have something to say too, Kit?
No, I'm just listening. Business matters are not his forte.
Jack has dropped his poker face again and looks completely confused. Money and a job. That's what you want.
I'm guessing you thought we were coming here for metaphysical blackmail or some elaborate magic bullshit?
He looks over your shoulder and says, "Holly, you can put away the gun." Looking over your shoulder, you can see that about 3 feet away, Holly was aiming at the back of Elliot's head with a pistol.
Oh.
Bro, that's like a part of your soul. That's such bad vibes.
Well, to be entirely so sure, I had felt my icon leave the hedge. I was certain that something had happened to it, and I thought I would be hearing more about this from, say, old Rattlebones, Prince Oliver, if you've had the pleasure of meeting him, or one of his bookbinders regarding some sort of deal.
Oh, no, we took his eyeball on the way out,
And
if
his
you hadn't
sword.
heard about that. Oh, if you've got somebody who can tell us what's going on with that sword, that would also be cool. But, like, again, not trying to do elaborate magic trades here. Just want to get this off my hands and maybe be in a good position to get started. That's all we're at right now.
Jack breathes a sigh of relief and slumps back into his chair. "Okay, Great. I did not expect you to have it, and when you showed me my icon, I was assuming that we were all in a lot of trouble. So it looks like it's just you that's in trouble. He laughs and says, the Lord of Tales is going to want that back. So let's see. I can give you some money, sure. Let's see. I can set this up as a stipend for a period of time, or would you just prefer a lump sum up front?
A stipend would probably help us get on our feet right now.
Alrighty, well, I can have that drawn up and send some contracts over to you. Expect that within the next day or two, on the condition that you leave the icon with me.
Absolutely. I don't want to walk out of here with it. It's too dangerous to hang on to, as I'm sure you can guess.
Makes a really bad doorstop.
He nods and says, I remember the Lord was very fond of this. Every time he would come to play cards, he would bring it up that he'd kept a trophy.
Of course.
So,
Now, to the other parts of what you were asking for, unfortunately, we do not have the sort of resources that Lost Vegas does. The Autumn Court, they know more about magic than I could ever possibly learn. We've got some people here who might have an idea, but I couldn't really do more than offer a generality there. He sighs and leans back in his chair again and says, the situation is that Royal Flush, we've only been going for about 5 years. Lost Vegas has been around for nearly 100. They've got time on their side, they've had resources, and they've got about 3 times as many members as we do. They've got connections with the government. The Winter Court controls the mafia. We're just a very successful casino, and a small one at that. There's things that we can offer, but in terms of that sword, I'd recommend that you go back to Las Vegas and talk to someone from Autumn.
Fair enough.
So if we were to head up to join up with y'all, what would you guys be bringing to the table that Las Vegas can't?
He nods and says, of course, there are some things. There's advantages to independence. He looks around and says, most of the reason that this place exists is because some of us did not take well with courtly life. Kings and queens and lords and ladies. It's a little too much like being back in Arcadia again, especially since at the time I founded this place and started the free company. The monarchs were taking their titles a little more seriously than they do these days. Some of us didn't take kindly to being someone's subjects, not after going through everything we did to get out of Arcadia. I'd recommend, if you have time, seeing if anyone can tell you about some of the history of Las Vegas.
It sounds worth looking into. We've just...
But I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I did want to let you answer your friend there. The rabbit person. What would be your name, sir?
Get Cotton.
Well, here's what we can offer. He spread his hands. Royal Flush is a worker co-op in addition to a Fey free company. anybody who joins Royal Flush is considered at least a partial shareholder. We offer all of our members a small stipend. For those who find that such a stipend is not sufficient to live a life on, and there are many, we offer employment within the casino, or for those who want to do something for the community itself, we also offer humanitarian positions for the community. Lucerne, for example, holds one of those positions. We can pay in money, or if you spend more time in the hedge than the mortal world, we can pay with other resources, such as funds that you could use in the goblin market.
The what now?
Oh, what?
Oh, he looks down at his paper. Lucerne did tell me you were fresh. I had forgotten entirely. Well, how much time in Arcadia did you spend in Arcadia proper? Or did you ever get to venture out into the hedge?
I was entirely in Arcadia proper, and I both was in Arcadia for longer than both of these guys and a year here. I don't know how that worked.
Well, if you've ever met hobgoblins before, you know that they're an enterprising bunch, and they are never far away. They're, especially here. Las Vegas is a powerful place and a tourist destination for those beyond mortal kind. We've actually, just a couple of years ago, negotiated a settlement with the person who runs the goblin market here to help regulate hobgoblin tourism.
That sounds like it was an interesting effort.
Oh, yes. It was actually very, very difficult. But after that flying bus crashed into the cowboy sign, it was that or deal with more fairy hunters than you can shake a stick at.
I can imagine.
Oh, wait, are those cool little dudes who run around in the glass thorns?
Well, hobgoblins come in all shapes and sizes, but yes, they live in the hedge, and they they like to bargain just as much as any other fae does. If you find yourself in need of something magical, I recommend that you see if you can find it there. There's a lot that can be found there.
We'll have to take a look. Thank you for the hint. I always feel awkward in a space like this. I noticed that you've got a bar over in the corner there. Would you mind if I mix some drinks?
He shrugs and says, "Why not? Be my guest."
All right. I have a feat called Goblin Bounty, which allows me to have a couple of goblin fruits on hand at the start of every chapter.
Mm-hmm.
One of the ones available is called the Vines of Bacchus, which I'm going to throw the exact wording into chat. A specific thing is that their most valued effect is they taste foul beyond belief to anyone who wishes harm on the people around them, which means they're useful for looting out loyalist infiltrators in a freehold. If this guy has interest in harming us, this should taste like crap.
Okay, that's a power play and a half. So go ahead and make your roll for mixing your drink. I believe that's intelligence plus expression.
Intelligence plus as crafts, actually. Because I got the dot in mixology, and I get an additional one, and I believe Let me check Kith and Kin real quick. I believe I get 8 again on that because I'm doing my specific thing as an amaranthine. All right. So yeah, as an absinthial, my apologies. When crafting anything consumable, beverages, meals, potions with the Fey ingredients using crafts, and absinthial players achieves exceptional success with 3 instead of 5. That was it. All right. So, roll.
Alrighty.
Sorry, just grabbing the exact numbers here, and there we go. Well, didn't need to be an absinthial to be that good, but here we go. This.
All right, how many do you make?
I'm going to make one for everyone here. I've got, pretty easy to make drinks, and it's going to be awkward if I don't pass one across. I'll drink one myself.
How many vines of Bacchus do you got then?
I have access to 3 of them. I think I should be able to split that across 5 drinks. I don't need a lot of fruit juice to make a cocktail.
That's true. All right. Let's go ahead and pass them out.
All right. Does any face turn after taking a sip?
The 3 of you obviously are able to drink it without question. Jack of Hearts downs it in one gulp and compliments you on the flavor. His bodyguard, Holly, looks to Jack and asks whether or not she should drink it. Jack tells her that she can if she wants. She takes it and takes a drink. Doesn't react. Takes another drink. Pointedly does not react. And then finishes it and puts it down. She says thank you and steps behind Jack.
Fair enough. Hope you liked it. Anyways.
Oh, it was a delight, says Jack. Thank you very much. Of course, I do want to let you know that if you want to join with Royal Flush, you are welcome. Be my guests. The number one thing that we can offer you here is that you will not be treated as anyone's subject. We are a democracy. We vote on who leads. But I do understand that the material benefits of Las Vegas are much greater than what we can offer.
Regardless, you're exactly the kind of person I hoped you would be.
I have a couple of questions, if that's cool.
Of course.
So, like, I was talking with this woman with, like, the billion faces, and she said that there were rumors about you guys, like, harboring bookbinders and that you helped them take the Spring King or something.
Jack sighs again and waves at the air. There's no love lost between us and Las Vegas. When I left to found Royal Flush, it was very public. I will say this. They're definitely incorrect about me being involved with the bookbinders. They started attacking around the time Oliver defected from Las Vegas. That was before I even escaped. It's been about 15 years. The King of Summer could tell you more about that than I could. But I have heard these rumors. Anyone in the Changeling community here in Las Vegas has probably heard 1 or 2 of them. They don't trust us, and I understand that. A lot of us do not trust them. I just told you outright that we are a democracy and they are an aristocracy.
Such is the nature of freedom as it spreads across the world, eh?
He shrugs and says, to be perfectly honest, I can't blame them.
Are you willing to swear that you do not support the Loyalists?
I would be willing to swear that, but I cannot say whether or not we harbor them.
I didn't say harbor them. I said swear that you do not support them. Whether this is.
Oh, that I can swear rather easily. When it comes to harboring, my suspicion is that there are bookbinders among both Royal Flush and Las Vegas. I do not think it's as simple as one of us being at fault.
Oh,
Okay.
that does raise a question. Do you happen to employ a gentleman with purple gemstone eyes and like a mouthful of sharp teeth?
He looks up at Holly and says, that description doesn't sound familiar. Does it sound familiar to you?
Sorry, we ripped a mask off the other night and we figured we might as well ask while we're here.
Holly frowns for a moment and says, I do not believe I've seen anyone like that at Royal Flush, but I am certain that I may have seen someone like that once before out and about. I believe
anyone missing a foot.
Roll me a chance die, Kenzie.
Kit openly laughs at that one.
Failure.
Can't say that I do.
Now I have the most important question for you, and I don't think that we can move past this conversation without it being answered.
Go on.
Do you guys have any of the cool little cats too?
He sighs and says, the Grimalkin hobgoblins are all loyal to Moggins. I apologize.
Damn, they're so cute.
They are. I wish we could have brought over some, but anytime I attempted to hire any, I basically got something like this. He fished around in his desk, brought out a piece of paper that had been yellowed with age, and handed it over to you to look at. On it is a crude crayon drawing of a cat holding hands with a person with flyaway hair, and a badly written "me and daddy" in crayon above it.
So we just got to fix their daddy issues. Got it.
Well, it sounds like Moggins has pretty firm loyalties among them. Well, it was worth asking. Thank you for your time. I'm sure that you've got plenty to do today, unless any of you guys had other questions. All right. Thank you for your time. I'm Jack. I apologize for interrupting your work.
If you need to visit again, feel free to let us know. I'll have that paperwork for stipends sent over immediately.
Absolutely. Not to be paranoid, but I've been taught this is a better idea. I'll be waiting for it. I spend one of the 2 glamour I have left and capture it on the word.
Jack allows it to be sealed, pointedly noting the string that appears around his finger and saying, see, I'm not going to undo it.
I understand. Just I'm leaving the thing here, so you've got no reason not to kick me out on my feet. And this is what we have right now. Anyways, you have a nice day, sir. Sorry for interrupting you, and I hope that book is helpful.
All right. So are you guys going to leave the casino entirely?
Yes, I think so.
All right. Where are you headed?
Wait, we need one thing first. In passing, I'd like to make sure that they have like some kind of restaurant downstairs, because if we're going to live and work here, it's got to have some pretty nice eats.
Yeah, there is a bar and restaurant downstairs.
Perfect. Okay, now we can go.
All right, somewhere I can work if need be.
On your way out, you notice Lucerne waiting for you by the door. I've got work to do, so I need to get back to it, she says. But if you do find yourself wanting to join up with us here, then consider this a job application. She smiles at you and hands off a envelope.
Fair enough.
She waves at you and heads back up to the elevator herself.
All right.
So we've discussed with the Royal Flush what they can do for us. Shall we go see what the Freehold can do for us? Weigh our options a little bit.
Yeah, we should probably also take a look at what's in that envelope after we get outside.
Yeah.
Kenzie?
I don't know. I mean, I only get to fight if I join the summer court. Here, I get to fight every month. But they don't have any cats, so that's definitely a downside. So I guess we should check.
I'm sure we can find you some way to do violence unto the bookbinders. Nobody seems to like them.
Okay, so where are you guys heading now?
Do we want to take a look at what's in that envelope before we get going, or do we want to do that later?
We should probably take a look at it.
Hey, Kenzie, why don't you open that up for us? After all,
Kenzie opens it up.
It is a typewritten note that simply says, for entrance into the office of the courser, present 1, open parentheses, number 1, close parentheses, intact bookbinder mask.
Huh.
That's it? Doesn't give any further details?
No.
Okay. I got
Well,
it.
I guess that's a puzzle we need to start looking into.
Oh, no, this is the easy one. We need a knife.
Well, they also break if we remove them, so maybe we gotta kill them while it's still on? I don't know.
Or maybe
Who said
we gotta find it while it's off.
Who said anything about removing it?
Fair enough.
We've removed what it's attached to.
Fair enough.
All right. On your way out, I would like you all to make a perception check at a -5 penalty.
All right. Well, changelings do get that +2 if we're at full clarity. I don't think any of us have taken clarity damage yet, so that helps.
Yep, but I also get a minus because I'm below 5, I think.
Yeah, you're only rolling at a +1, I think. So that's wits plus composure. And I believe you're especially good at that kit.
Yeah, with the pluses and the minuses and my dice pool, I'm looking at a total of 5 dice.
Really?
Yeah. And that is 2 successes.
1 success.
I failed.
Gotta keep your eyes open.
I'd like to make it a dramatic failure.
I will allow that. As you are leaving the casino, Kit and Elliot catch a glance of someone getting into a taxi and catch just a flash of her hand flickering across a spectrum of different skin colors. Kinsey, meanwhile, walks directly into the glass door. Take 1 point of action damage.
Kenzie?
Okay. I'm sorry. Who did we notice?
I think that was Madam Anybody.
Right, but did we just notice a random person? I'm sorry, I missed who this was, or is this?
They were getting into a cab out front, and we saw what looked like Madam Anybody's hand.
Okay.
So that's the person who warned Kenzie that we were seen with Royal Flush people. So that's interesting. I don't know what that means.
It's a useful bit of information for sure.
All right, so were you folks heading to Las Vegas, or what next?
I say we drop this stuff off at home and head to court. Probably find out what's going on. Maybe we'll figure out something to do from there.
I'd also like to see if we can find an autumn courtier to look at the sword.
Sure, someone might be interested in it.
And I think I'm going to talk to someone within the summer court about efforts to hunt down the bookbinders.
After all, we need to find something for Kenzie to do. And if they don't have an option, well, that's pretty clear on where we're going to have to be going.
Yep.
Okay, so after dropping by your rooms in the Four Seasons, you head down to the basement. It is currently very loud. There seem to be several hundred changelings gathered, and the monarchs are having a very loud discussion on the dais in the middle. You notice the Winter King grinning at Madam Anybody as she stands beside the empty throne of the Spring Monarch. Very nice of you to join us, madam, he says with a sly little grin. Now we can finally begin discussing. Madam Anybody clears her throat as her face goes through several different shades of red and purple. I'm sorry, but I had court business to attend to, she says. You should understand that right now we are currently without a monarch. And if you behave like this, says the King of Winter, you've got no chance of being the next Spring Queen. He smiles and says, right? He looks at the other two monarchs who conveniently don't say anything. The audience of waiting changelings shout incomprehensibly at Madam Anybody. It seems that they are not very happy with her either. Regardless, snorts this Winter King. Spring is only in power until the 21st. And that means you've got 6 days, and then it'll be his turn. King Leo of Summer clears his throat and says, I believe I made my position very clear. we should allow Summer to take the crown prematurely. This will change our freehold bargain, and that will mean that we are on more even a footing to find any loyalists and bookbinders, especially since one was recently unmasked. Agatha speaks up in her croaking voice, her hair over her eyes being pushed aside so one knowing eye can glance at the Summer King. You know that there is no precedent for one monarch stepping down for another to take power early. This could have consequences. Leo very calmly says, there is no spring monarch at the moment. Right now, we have a lady in waiting attending because spring has not yet chosen a new monarch.
Morgan should do it.
Are you going to be heckling, or do you actually mean that seriously?
I mean it seriously. He's well loved by everyone within the freehold, and he's a neutral party.
All right, roll me presence plus politics.
Politics.
It's going to be up near the top.
Yeah, that's gonna be a luck roll.
Are you sure you want to say this one out loud?
Yes, I'm. I'm going to spend a willpower to make it not a luck roll, just a normal roll of 1. I'm going to make that a critical failure.
Okay, take your beat for a dramatic failure.
I would like to note that I have moved slightly away in the crowd from him.
Kit's voice rings out over the assembled changelings, and suddenly the rabble goes entirely silent. From around the edges of the big room, you can see a grimalkin or two cleaning up or serving drinks, and several of them spring into the air, seemingly very happy at the suggestion, but they appear to be the only ones. The butler, croaks Agatha. Madam Anybody clears her throat and says, he's not just the butler, Agatha. He's the head butler, and he's been here since the beginning, longer than you. Agatha snorts derisively. The help is the help and will always be the help.
That's kind of a shitty take, bro.
And that, my friends, is why you will fail at coming up with a solution for this. You're shooting yourself in the foot by eliminating anybody that's not of royalty. Think of the people before you think of your own asses in a lovely chair. Do something.
I very quietly
Stop fucking arguing and make a goddamn choice for the betterment of your people. You rule, then fucking do something. And that's where the critical failure comes in.
Kenzie goes to grab a drink.
I am mixing drinks right now so hard. I could not mix drinks any harder if I possibly tried. I will roll for it.
The Autumn Queen stands up from her throne and says, what do you know? You're not a member of the Freehold. You're a new escapee. And as far as anyone knows, you could be a loyalist.
I know that leadership comes with the consent of the masses.
Leadership comes from power. And don't forget that.
And what happens to your power when no one listens to you? When you take things too far?
Then I suppose the Grim Hunter will drag me bodily back into the hedge.
The sooner the better.
The Winter King laughs and says, well, that was jolly. May I remind you that the entire reason we're having this meeting, my esteemed colleagues, is because the identity of a bookbinder was recently ferreted out. And might I point out to you that that while this impertinent rabbit may have his own motivations for saying things like this, the person who found that identity was one of his friends. There's multiple gasps from around the assembled changelings. Will Wisp claps his hands with a sound like a bell as marble slaps marble. He has a point, Agatha, even if he doesn't have any manners.
My apologies. I wasn't. My dear friend Kit is from an earlier era. He's used to a lot more independence. If you recall, this place used to be farmlands back in the day, and he wasn't here when the city was up in lights. We've gotten to see the bookbinders. We're all afraid of them, and we do our best to take out a couple of them. There's a few who are nursing injuries, which I'm sure they're trying not to show anyone for what they were doing on hunt night. We're all worried about this. We're all worried about everyone's safety, even if we're not members yet. Can I try and calm the room down with that one? Like presence plus persuasion, or maybe a manipulation plus socialize? What you feeling here?
Let's say manipulation plus socialize here.
All right, and I'm going to throw a willpower in because I'm scared out of my fucking mind right now. Hi there, and come on. Wow, I can roll, but I at least got a success.
The assembled crowd of changelings doesn't seem to take it very well, but someone appears to have taken Elliot's message to heart. The Summer King stands up and roars so loud that dust is shaken off the rafters above. The bartender's right, he says. And after they brought my wife back to me, I will hear no criticism of them. They are under Summer's protection.
Oh! Fuck! Not in character, not in character.
He sits back down and looks over Elliot, Kit, and Kenzie and says, little cubs, you haven't been back long enough to know how things work these days or how things work among the lost. But you've performed a service for me no one ever could. 15 years my wife has been missing. 15 years since that detestable little creep Rattlebones dragged her off into the hedge and started this wild hunt. I will not allow anyone to harm you without reason. He leans back and snorts Agatha may have a point about our seasonal bargains not holding up if I take power early. But, well, the little cubs weren't here around hunt night. They don't know. Agatha cackles and says, oh, they don't know that how the spring bargain works yet? Only one changeling can be chosen outside of the wild hunt to be chased, to be taken. And the one that the Lord of Tales wants back until spring loses its power is your wife.
Oh, hell no.
Leo nods and says, myself or my knights will not be leaving the hospital where she stays except for a freehold business, like tonight. I'm going right back when we're done. But Will's right as well. 2/3 of the Knights of Summer will be out hunting for the unmasked loyalist. I recommend that the Knights of Spring, Winter, and Autumn likewise join the hunt. Agatha nods, and so does Madam Anybody. Will takes a sip from his drink and says, why do you think my knights haven't already been looking?
Okay, I have a question for you, Kenny.
Mm-hmm.
Changelings can do some strange things, right?
I think we've established that, yes.
Okay.
One or two.
Can I extract a memory
From who?
myself and give it to someone else?
Let's see, I'll allow that. Let's see. It'll cost you a glamour, and I'm going to want and let's see, resolve plus empathy to do it successfully.
Okay. This is not gonna go well. But I'm gonna still try it. Okay. So I'm gonna blow willpower on this. Okay, so it's gonna be dice pool 4. Okay. So I am basically wanting to extract basically a single frame, essentially, of a memory that is the unmasked bookbinder, what his face looks like.
All right, go ahead and make that roll.
One success.
Well, a success is a success because this is Chronicles of Darkness. Kit taps his forehead and extracts a ball of silvery light, which coalesces into a yellowed wanted poster with the purple gem-eyed changeling's face on it.
I hand it to the Summer King.
Thank you, he says. He stands up and says, I have no more patience for this. We've established that spring will stay in power until the end of the season. We've established that my knights will be hunting for this traitor. I have also asked that the other monarchs do the same. Now I am going to leave. He stands up, bows to the court, and waves with a smile to the three of you, and simply leaves. The crowd begins babbling with a half dozen different takes on what happened, but it's clear that this meeting is over. The monarchs leave the dais. And let's see. Everybody roll me a chance roll, please.
Chance die?
Mm-hmm.
You got it. Pete, don't fair me now. Oh, wow. Can't get above a 4, man.
I willpower.
Chance roll. So, as the meeting adjourns itself, Kenzie notices the Winter King take up the same table as last time, with the same blindfolded goons in suits. He tactfully attempts to catch her attention with a subtle wave of a finger.
I head over.
Will takes a drink from his cup and says, "Your friend doesn't have any manners. That's fine. I don't care. But I do know that you guys are a lot better than anyone would give you credit for. I've heard, and I can't speak for the others, but I bet they will have too, what happened to you during the wild hunt. And I respect strength, just like Lee. If you and your friends are willing to help, I think we have some information about our purple friend. And I'm not talking about Barney the dinosaur."
Damn, that song's gonna be stuck in my head for like a week now. You're kind of a dick.
He grins and says, "This guy used to be one of ours. He left the court about 3 months ago. He had only been out for around 7, so he was fairly new. I have a name for him, but that's about all I've got to go on. The name's Gleam Serpentine."
Does the way we live now make any sense to you?
He shrugs and says, "Not really. Generally, the title of the book has something to do with the bookbinder it belongs to. We've caught a few over the years, and there's always some sort of sick hint." He takes another sip and says, "The Lord of Tales likes that. If one of his loyalists happens to get caught and executed over it, great. He thinks it's funny. But I can't say if that makes any sense to me. I've got what I've got in terms of info. If you guys really, truly want to help, I think you'll want to talk to this freehold's biggest busybody."
Moggins?
He grins and says, "That old man sure can talk, but no. I don't know if been formally introduced, but Madam Anybody has a spy network that would rival the entirety of my court. That works for her personally."
You sure it's not just her personally?
"I hope it's just her personally," he says darkly. He takes a sip. "You know, she used to date the Jack of Hearts. A lot of people think she's a bookbinder."
Doesn't seem. I'm not there.
I beckon over Elliot and Kit. I'd like to get their opinion, but I want to help in any way I can because, they just kind of watched while I picked up cold iron, and that was kind of a dick move too.
Were we there when you said that?
You can be if you want.
To be fair, he was literally at that time telling us what that was and what it would do, and you decided to grab it before he did.
Okay, but who has time to wait around?
Exactly. That's why I was taking aim. I took his fucking ankles.
And his wrist.
Anyways.
That was pretty cool.
Anyways, I think it worked out for the best all around, and your hand is feeling better. But my apologies, sir. Your Highness, I'm not sure what the exact etiquette is.
Will gives a mild snort of laughter and says, "You've got better manners than Peter Cottontail, but I like the three of you anyway." He nods over at Kinsey and says, "If you guys want to do this, be my guest, and if you manage it, then I'll vouch for any of you to join the Winter Court."
There's one thing I would like to ask of you if we are able to get this pulled off.
Sure. If winter's not your thing, I'm willing to work with you.
We are in possession of... Could you show him the sword?
Kenzie pulls out the sword without managing to threaten him.
Holding it by the blade. We were told that this looks like some serious hoodoo, and we've barely got our feet underneath us, but it seems important to know what it does. Would you be able to point us in the right direction of someone who might be able to figure it out?
I don't think the old angry woman likes us.
He picks up the sword and looks over it and says, "Oh, I sure can. It looks a little different, but I'll never forget this sword. Leo forged it for old Oliver Oakhart before he earned that wonderful new nickname of his, Rattlebones."
I'll rattle his bones again.
Well, we only started calling him that after he had his face carved off.
Fuck.
He says, leaning back and handing the sword back, before he went loyalist, Oliver Oakhart was a tree changeling, He had this great big canopy, leaves, the works. He used to talk about how important it was to him to stay close to the earth. We barely recognized him after he came back for the first hunt, not until he opened his mouth.
Yikes.
Okay.
Milky needs a therapist.
Real quick here. I understand. I kind of went off a little bit much there, and
I need to stop mixing you drinks before or court.
No, I just can't. I can't sit around and watch people jaw jocking when there's stuff to be done, especially something as important as this. I understand what you guys do is important, and I'm a man of action. Not very smart. I get pointed at something, I make sure it's done.
So, let's go prove ourselves. Sounds like we're hunting down that gentleman we ran into the other night.
Let's do it.
Will waves you away with a wink and says, "Just work on your manners a little bit and you might fit in better in polite society, cowboy."
You gotta raise your pinky when you drink, man.
I heard a few things about that. It's not quite how it works, but
anyways. So, is Madam Anybody still here?
Roll me investigation to see if you can find her.
All right. Well, is anyone
What's
better
in-
than me at investigation? I got, this would be wits plus investigation, yeah? I got 4 dice.
I got 5.
8.
Hey, so I'd like to assist Kit looking for Madam Anybody.
All right.
Same.
We know how assist rolls work. Roll your teamwork first, and then Kit gets a bonus equal to the number of successes you get.
All right, +2 there, Kit.
All right.
3 successes.
The interesting thing about a rabbit's nose is that it is way more sensitive than a human's. And while Madam Anybody may have number of faces, she doesn't have a number of other scents. Kit follows the scent trail out of the big main room of the freehold. And into the network of hallways that lead to the other areas that the freehold controls in the Four Seasons basement. Madam Anybody is found standing beside a stairway leading up, labeled 2 dumpsters. She's standing there smoking a cigarette. Up close, you can see that the reason her skin flashes through so many different colors is that her skin appears to be made of dozens and dozens of mirror fragments, each one of them reflecting someone different. She notices you as you head down the hall, and her eyes latch onto the 3 of you. She blows out some smoke and says, "Oh, hi, you 3. So, I've tried to give you some advice, or at least Kenzie. What do you want?"
Well, we're hoping to prove our bona fides in a slightly different fashion. There are those who say you might have recently seen the gentleman in question, and we're hoping to maybe bring him in and show that we're actually on y'all's side. There's people who believe that we might be capable enough to do so. Question is if you're one of those people.
She takes a look at the 3 of you and says, "Normally, I'd say information is currency. I'd want to trade secret for secret. But I think this would be useful to all of us." She breathes out a cloud of smoke and says, "Winter and summer do their own thing, and they think spring doesn't have much to do except loll around and have fun, fuck and eat and gamble. But I've been a noble of spring for 20 years. And I'll tell you that when people are having fun, their lips are loose. I've got a name and I've got an address."
Sounds good.
Can I have the name and address?
The guy's name is Gleam Serpentine. You may have already heard that from Winter. I found out he used to be a part of them. He left after a few months real sudden. No one knew why. But I had some folks look around the records. And I have a hunch, but that's not much else. She hands you a card with an address scribbled on it. You maintain an apartment here under the name of Yusef Adkins. It used to be a two-person apartment, but after having people talk to all the neighbors, apparently for the last few months, it's only been him living there.
Huh.
She exhaled some more smoke and says, I don't think you'll find him there, but you might find some information on how to find him. If you can manage this and you can haul him back in, you'll have your pick of courts to join.
Does he have to be alive?
No, we're not picky, but he'd be able to talk more if he was. Not that that would stop Agatha.
Fair enough.
Does she just talk to dead people as a hobby?
Not as a hobby, usually for profit.
Okay, that's pretty cool.
You guys know how to apply tourniquets? I think we might need some for this.
We'll stop by Tall Boy.
Sounds good.
All right, so what are you guys doing next?
Hold on. Out of character, do we want to ask her about what you guys saw?
I think that is something I'm going to use for trading a favor on a future moment, and I've got nothing other than the flash of a hand, so I don't think I'm going to be able to prove anything, but I might be able to piss her off.
Okay, valid.
Before we head out, I will also apologize for my outburst directly to her. And, same basic spiel.
She snorts and says, I don't give a fuck, and you're right. But I have to put on appearances for the other monarchs. This is a game, Mr. Cotton. A game that we play if we want to get ahead. You can choose not to play if you like, but me, I'm going to win.
Remind me to make you a better drink next time we see you. You look like you need one.
My dad always used to say, "There's no opting out of the game, just skipping your turn."
She gives you a sad little smile and says, yeah, more or less. But hey, maybe if you play your cards right, you might actually win something.
Wow, again with the frickin' puns on all of the casino stuff. You guys just do this all the time, don't you?
Anyways, sounds like we got work ahead of us and not much time to do it in.
Alrighty. And I remember earlier when I had you guys roll me a chance die, you all failed, correct?
Oh, yeah.
All right. On your way out of the Four Seasons, after leaving the basement, you're approached by a trio of changelings. There's one standing in front and two standing behind her. The one standing in front, she's about 5.5 feet tall, wearing a pair of fatigues and a t-shirt. Uh, her hair is long and blue-green with a face to match. She reminds you if a seal got very, very full of itself. Standing behind her, the two other changelings. One is just about a couple inches taller than her and covered in shaggy yellow-white fur. He looks something vaguely like a apologetic monkey. He's got a phone in his hand and is looking directly at Elliot. The third towers over the both of them. He grins at you from a face that's perfectly circular with 12 numbers around the center. The rest of his skin is gray, blocky, and covered in a brick pattern. He puts one fist into his hand a few times, grinning. So where are you three going? Says the girl up front.
Why?
Well, we have our suspicions about you. Yeah, says the furry guy holding the phone. I've got a lot to be suspicious about right here, Mr. McCoy.
Nice to meet you. I can't say I've run into you before. May I ask your name?
He snorts, and the changeling woman in front speaks for him. Gizmo's the best at what he does. He's a hacker.
I mean,
He couldn't find anything.
I'm sorry, I don't think we have any meat on us right now.
It's a term for people who are able to get into computers. I talked to you about this.
Okay.
Sorry, he's from the cowboy era. My apologies.
The changeling with the clock face bends down and says, Nellie, you want I should bust his face in? Not yet, says the woman. She looks back at you and says, you guys can call me Penelope. It's only Nellie to my friends.
Wow, no wonder you have an attitude.
I only take that kind of attitude with enemies of the freehold, like, say, 3 bookbinders.
Oh,
Yeah,
do you know where
that's
any
true.
are?
Why do you think we shot their foot off?
Yeah, I heard Top Tall Boy saying that you guys shot a couple of them, but you didn't bring any in. And the second you arrive, suddenly we've got more hunt activity than dog's age. The bookbinders are going crazy.
I imagine the reason why that is because we got, not only did we get out, but we got the little dancer out as well. And I reckon that the
Consort? Summer Queen? I'm not sure what we'd call them there. I feel like Queen's not the right answer.
And that's the most suspicious thing, says Penelope. Clara's been missing for 15 years and nobody gets out of Arcadia after they get taken back. And you come waltzing back with the Summer Queen's wife.
Well, what can I say? I'm lucky. I have 2 rabbit's feet.
Hold up. What do you mean no one gets out of Arcadia? If no one got out of Arcadia, you wouldn't be here.
No one gets out
Do you even
twice.
have logic?
No one gets out twice.
Well,
Really?
She almost didn't. I had to unchain her. She had a nail through her fucking feet. You want to run out of there with a nail through your feet?
We had her over our backs the whole time.
It was like a foot
But-
tall, bro.
But
Yeah, and the Lord of Tales didn't.
Don't say his name. Are you mad?
Are you afraid your boss is going to come knocking if I call for him?
Unlike you, we're not under the freehold. Not yet. We're under their protection, though.
And if I've
So
got
if
any,
you say his name, you invoke him, you put us at risk, and that's a threat to me.
take it as a threat, because if I have anything to say about it, none of you three are getting into Las Vegas.
Good thing you don't.
The furry guy waves his
I-
phone.
I keep walking.
The furry guy waves his phone and says, "See you soon again, Elliot."
here you go. I hand my phone to him and walk away.
He boggles at you, completely surprised. Penelope grabs the phone and says, "Come on, Gizmo, we've got to look into this," and walks off into the Four Seasons.
Enjoy Grinder.
I haven't used it for anything but calling you guys, so nothing I'm afraid of. All right, let's get out of here. And actually, with that time in the physical world, guessing probably don't have too much time for much else tonight.
Yeah, we don't have a whole lot of time, but if there's any small things you guys want to do before we wrap up, now would be the time to do it.
I wanted to see if I could talk to the summer court guy, Monarch, and see what kind of programs they have regarding supporting hunters of the bookbinders.
So, do you guys want to swing by the hospital before we call it a night?
Yes, please.
Okay. So, the three of you head to the hospital where they're keeping Clara. The nurse at the front is able to give you the room number. And as you make your way up there, you notice several changelings trying to look inconspicuous. They notice you, and while they give you dirty looks, they don't appear to be any pointedly dirty looks. You get the feeling that they'd be giving dirty looks to just about any changeling that walk by right now. You go into Clara's hospital room. Clara is sitting up in bed eating, and Leo is sitting beside of her with a hand on her shoulder. There are three other summer court changelings stationed at the corners of the room and one at the window. Clara notices you guys come in and waves excitedly with her mouth full of what appears to be macaroni and cheese. "Hi, everybody. Oh, no." Leo smiles at you and waves you in.
Kenzie wastes no time and runs across the room, throws herself at Clara for a hug.
She returns it and says, "We haven't had a lot of time to chat since you guys drive me out of Arcadia. But thanks. I'm really happy to get out of the Grand Library. I didn't think I would ever see the other side of that place."
I'm glad to see you at the very least recovering. Is there anything we could do to help your recovery? I could go hunt some amaranthine down or something. I don't know.
Leo begins nodding, but Clara cuts him off with a hand on his nose. The big lion gives a short purr and sits back in his chair. If possible, she says, "I'd like to try to do this mundane. Fey magic always has some sort of price. Tallboy could come in here and fix me up in a minute, but it would mean that I'd have some sort of junk fused permanently to my flesh. It might take a while, but I'd rather be able to walk under my own power on my own 2 feet without having to owe anything to fate or a goblin.
Fair enough. I worry about you. You got out with us. I know you have a life here and a lot of connections, but that means a lot to me.
Not just that, but I listened to you swear in that box for years. It was amazing. Pretty sure you're where I learned half my vocabulary.
Well, the Lord made sure that box was very special. Every time it was closed, it was like being sealed in a coffin. And he'd leave that thing shut for what felt like years. She shuddered.
I saw. God, how was that only a year?
But at least we got to give Oliver a good old what for.
Did you see his new eye?
What? She says.
Oh, that eye that you took? His dad, I'm guessing, melted down his crown to replace it.
Sounds like one of the good neighbors, she says. She sighs and says, he didn't used to be like that. Leo rumbles and says, he used to be a very nice boy. Used to be.
Speaking of which, he offered me a contract, but I kind of burned it. But I do have this for you. I was wondering if you could tell me a little bit about it. And I hand over the sword.
He looks over at it and grabs it. Clara eyes it and says, "Oh, I remember that. Didn't you forge that for him when he became a knight in the Spring Court?" Leo nods and says, "That was 2003? Yeah, but it's very different now. It looks like he's had some work done on it, probably by Daddy," he says, giving a clawed finger clips. If you give me some time to look at it, I'll see what's been done. But yeah, I forged this originally.
Hey, man, all yours.
I'll get it back to you. You took it from him. Clara told me all about it, so it's yours by right. Give me some time.
Thank you. If you need any other help with this, with keeping Clara safe, you call us and we'll be here, all right?
He nods and says, "We should be okay. I've got a dozen knights on standby and another 2 or 3 dozen patrolling the city right now."
So I did have a very distinct reason for coming out to see you. Was it Leo?
Yeah, his name is Leo Rex.
Yeah. So we're cards on the table here. We have been approached by the Royal Flush. And from what I have seen, they are making a distinctive effort to try and hunt down bookbinders.
Oh, yes, that young girl of theirs that they have. She tends to go wandering around on hunt nights. Has for the last year or so. Has that dealy bopper on her forehead.
Yep, she helped us out when we were getting surrounded. Good folk.
Yeah, she's a very nice girl. And even if no one else does, I trust the Jack of Hearts in anything but a card game.
You know, I think I'd probably agree with you there. Seems a bit like a sharp card, or card sharp.
So I was wondering what kind of efforts the summer court is making towards actively hunting, because that's where my interest lay.
Well, we're Las Vegas's security force. We're always on the lookout for loyalists, privateers, bridge burners, hobgoblins, and the grim hunter if he steps out of the hedge. This is going to take a while, kids, so how about you come see me in my office outside of the Four Seasons? He writes down an address and says, if you come here and give me a call, I'll make sure to take some time off to talk to you.
Also, do you have any kind of bounty system? Because I think I got something that might qualify. And I'd show him the piece that we got.
The piece of what?
The piece of the hunter.
Yeah.
He says, when it comes to like a bit of a huntsman, kid, I think I get what you're talking about, but huntsmen put themselves back together. He's fine by now.
Dang. He blew him apart.
Oh yeah, these things can't die.
Huh.
So, but I recommend that you hold on to that because there's a lot of things you can do with that to help you find them if you're really serious about hunting.
How long do they stay down?
It depends, says Leo, but in my experience, the Grim Hunter only stays down for about 3 days at a time.
Huh. Well,
Okay.
Maybe we'll have to go pay him a visit before the night in question, yeah?
Clara yawns and says, look, I'm sorry, guys, I know you just got here, but I was going to take a nap after supper. If you guys come back, we can chat some more.
Sounds good. We'll
Sounds
talk.
good.
Leo waves at you guys as you leave, and we'll be closing out here. So let's go over aspirations. Did anybody fulfill an aspiration today?
I did. We had Meet Jack, which we did. I got rid of the book. I wanted to stop by the court. And I wanted to learn about our freehold options, which looks like we got everybody there. But we haven't had an excuse to break a mask yet, unless you're willing to give me some credit towards hunting down the dude that we're working on.
Yeah, take a step towards that.
All right. We'll take a step on that one, and that puts me up to 3 XP.
All right. Kenzie, what about you?
Like to think I'd take another step towards finding out where I fit in the freehold and finding a job.
Yeah, I'll allow that.
Okay. And for me, I think the only thing that I've made progress towards is killing a bookbinder.
Yeah, you guys have an address and have been asked to hunt him down, so take a step towards that.
Cool.
All right, so we're going to go ahead and close out for the night. Thanks everybody for being with us today. Remember again, there is a Kickstarter going on for Realms of Pugmire, and there is the Onyx Path game night of the last Friday of the month. Until next week, y'all have a good day, and thanks for joining us.